Right. So you guys know? Do you guys know what feudalism is, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. You know what feudalism is?
Sort of.
So it's when a king basically owns all the land that the peasants live on.
Yeah.
And in return, he protects your land, but you have to pay exorbitant taxes. Okay. And you're basically slaves to the king, pretty much. Yeah. Okay. But
can't rise
and after the fall of the Roman Empire, right? That is what most people lived under for centuries.
Yeah.
Okay. Until over time, we under philosophies like John Locke, especially in the West, we started to develop more of a liberal system, where people were able to do as they wish. We had a capitalist system, right? Mm-hmm. And people were able to be free, make their own economic decisions, and they had generally low taxes, right? Yeah. But what started to happen is, especially in Eastern countries, and this happened in Russia, right? People were being felt that they were being taken advantage of, and they attributed that to capitalism. Okay. And I'm talking, like factory workers and people, especially people that worked on farms. We're talking early on. They felt they were being taken advantage of, and they saw capitalism as feudalism. But instead of being enslaved by your king, you're enslaved by your employer. You see what I'm saying? You see what distinction I'm drawing? Okay. And so they came up with this idea of socialism. We're going to have all the workers control production, and they're going to control the companies, and the workers are just going to control everything. They're going to own everything. We're going to distribute everything. And eventually, we're going to get to communism, and communism is when everyone is equal, everything's distributed evenly, everyone puts in work based on their skills, even amount of work, and we have a surplus. That is what Marx taught of. Everyone, each according to his ability, each according to their needs. So what that meant is everyone puts in based on their skills, right? And people get what they need. We will have a surplus of food, and everyone will have resources, and everyone will have resources. The problem with that is that when there's no incentive to work other than, we're going to all have resources,
people don't work.
Yeah.
And there's not enough food to go around.
Okay, but that is not the immediate problem of these ideas. Okay. Basically, you guys know what happened in the Soviet Union, right? Yeah. Inevitably, people they rose up, right? Yeah. The Bolsheviks rose up, and they killed farmer after farmer after farmer, because anyone that has more money than the poorest people in the country, which the farmers weren't even doing that good anyway, must be killed because they're an oppressor. Okay, and that is what they thought. Okay, and that is very harmful. Mm-hmm. Okay, and so they killed them, and guess what happened?
Didn't have any food. Famine.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Millions starved in Ukraine, and some of them were actually having grain withheld because of genocidal reasons. And they just millions starved. And so I came up with this idea that maybe people unjustly compared capitalism to feudalism. Yeah. And I don't think that those really compare, because capitalism has taken more people out of poverty and has given people more freedoms than any other economic system.
Now, it's really weird to think how, again, I'm going in more into conservative shit, how, we all hate the left. But anyway, it's weird to think how the left constantly
I think the left has some good ideas.
Yeah, they have some good ideas. I'm talking about, general modern media and stuff.
Like I said, I'm a centrist.
But anyway, so the left is constantly preaching about how bad the Nazis were, even though they were socialists, and that is technically leftism. But
okay.
that's not the point. That's not the
point. Are okay.
The point is that the Holocaust.
I'll get back to that. They aren't really socialist because they didn't believe in workers controlling everything, but they believed in more distributionist policies. So they would be more comparable to a social democracy today, but with authoritarian ideology.
Yeah, but that has nothing to do with my point.
Yeah.
My point is that they constantly justify like socialism, and they're trying to push for it, even though the general idea of socialism or communism has killed 80 million people.
Communism hasn't killed anyone. We haven't gotten.
Well, not communism.
We've never gotten to communism.
The idea of communism.
Yeah.
And the idea of socialism that's killed 80 million, but the Holocaust.
More than 80 million.
More than 80. Yeah,
more.
The Holocaust killed 8 million Jews, and then let's say 2 million other various groups of people.
I think it's about 11 million in total.
11 million,
yeah.
That is
maybe more.
Almost 3.5 times more than Nazism. Like it's weird that they try to justify that.
Yeah, but they're both
not
equally evil.
Deaths of people
don't realize, we're trying to say, right?
Not that Nazism is good. It's terrible.
I bet you that if I ask you if you were in Nazi Germany, I wouldn't have done that. I wouldn't have done that. But you know what? You are the same species that those people were. You are human, and those people were human too.
Exactly.
I want you guys to ask yourselves what limit, what can I. When put in a situation like that, everything's going to shit. What am I capable of? When society is breaking down, what am I capable of?
What can fear drive you to do?
Yeah.
All those people are scared. They're trying to find a way to sort of justify that.
George Soros actually ratted out Jews when he was 14. Yeah, he found Jews and ratted them out to the Nazis.
Yeah. I mean, there were a lot of...
And I don't blame him. He was 14.
Yeah.
And he grew up in Nazi Germany, so you can't really blame him for that, because that's what he was taught. But, what was I going to say? Germany. Right. There was a lot of, benefits for turning in Jews, you get so many Reichsmark, or, because that was a currency.
Well, or you just don't get killed,
Yeah. Or that, you get saved from something.
It's all just about that fear.
Get out of jail free
pass. A lot more people were in the Nazi Party at the time, just because they wanted to be able to be successful, too.
Yeah.
There were actually a lot of people in Zentrum still, which is the centrist party at the time. There was also a communist party, too, in Germany at the time, which is better than Nazism, in my opinion. But
communism?
At least communists actually want to help people, generally. Yeah. I guess, okay. So the idea of Nazism, right? And this is what the fundamental idea is, okay? We have to eradicate the pests in society.
Yeah.
The first thing, the first thing Hitler went after, it was not Jews. You know what the first thing he went after was? He went after rodents, insects, and smoking. He went after those things first.
I actually didn't know that.
Yeah,
I didn't either.
Yeah, so they had anti-smoking campaign. He hated smoking and hated drugs, and
Didn't he actually smoke weed?
I don't believe so.
Oh.
He wanted and he wanted to get rid of pests, rodents, insects. Wanted to get rid of all that. He hated things that were seen as unclean, and were pests, impure, and eventually that led to Jews. Once we get rid of that, what else can we target?
It's probably one of the reasons he's never in the trenches, because there's all a shit ton of rats in there.
Because they're so... fascists are so, hell-bent on purifying society and creating a structured system. It's to the point where it leads to genocide.
Yeah.
And he was doing good things for Germany early on.
Yeah.
And everyone had a car. They had a system where everyone would get a car. Volkswagen?
Mm-hmm.
That's actually was started by the Nazis. Yeah.
There are a lot of things started by the Nazis. I mean, we shouldn't
Fanta?
appreciate the Nazis
the
for
soda?
it.
That was started. Yeah.
That's crazy.
We shouldn't appreciate the Nazis for doing it, but we should just be thankful that it happened, If you know what I mean. Again, Nazis are truly terrible.
He greatly helped their infrastructure. He pulled them out of the Depression.
Of course,
because they were all stuck paying for the war and
by the way, the Treaty of Versailles was horseshit. By the way, it was Germany didn't even start the war.
They didn't.
Yeah, it was ridiculous.
We just dumped it all on them.
They're like, here you go, we won, so we're gonna put all the debt on you instead of trying to actually heal ties.
Pretty much, yeah.
When France did almost as much damage to Germany as Germany did to France.
Yeah.
So there was more damage to France just because the fighting was more in France, but there was a lot of damage done to Germany too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like, didn't they just finish paying off the reparations in 2016?
Yeah, like 2016. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's like
really...
I don't quote me on that. I don't know if that's
weird
right.
to think about. That
they were still paying for the war.
Literally, generations and generations were paying for their.
Okay, get this. During World War II, we were paying money. We were paying royalties to Mauser to use their action in our Springfield rifles that they were shooting us with in Germany. We were paying Mauser royalties to make more rifles to shoot us.
I was saying this, but like they have to send an ambassador over to pay for these things. Like, oh yeah, I'm just gonna go behind enemy lines.
Like, here's some money so you can shoot our
guys.
soldiers some more.
Yeah, that's so dumb.
I would
Okay,
just
here's your money. We're
refuse to
gonna
pay
go back over
royalties.
here.
Yeah.
Like, why would you?
Yeah. You're already killing each other. Like, what are they gonna do? Punish you?
But I mean, that's not the company's fault though. That stuff's going down.
It's their country. It's
like they just want to make money. I mean,
yeah, true.
Like, you have to think, it wasn't the Nazis producing the rifles. It was the companies.
There's another thing
Paid by the
people don't think about. A lot of times, if you get like a Car 98 or something, a lot of times it's made by Jews that were in concentration camps. A lot of them were assembled.
Damn.
Yeah.
I didn't
It
know
depends.
that.
You can look at the serial number and it will actually that if you look it up, some of the serial numbers, it'll actually tell you where it was made and which concentration camp it was made in.
They didn't have the names of like the actual location because they didn't.
Well, sometimes it'll have initials on it, and the initials will stand for certain camps.
They just had numbers. For
if it was made in a camp, most of them were just made in factories.
And another weird thing to think,
there were some made in camps.
Is that the
especially the Kriegsmodel ones, the later ones. You know, when shit was going down.
The Waffen SS, they were the Nazis, and obviously
the Waffen SS, yeah.
But the why can't I think of it? The German army. Why can't I?
The Wehrmacht.
The Wehrmacht, yeah. I'm such a World War II geek, and I can't remember the name of the Wehrmacht.
You know, the Wehrmacht actually turned against the SS at the end of the war. A lot of them.
Yeah,
did.
like Battle of Castle Litter. That's good.
Yeah,
a good example.
That's a good one. Yeah, they fought during the Battle of Castle Litter. German troops fought with American troops against the SS.
Yeah. And the prisoners that were in the castle.
Yeah.
They were just a bunch of rich dudes, you know. But
mostly French people that were captured.
But the Wehrmacht, they were fighting just for the country. They were fighting for Germany, not for Nazi Germany, just Germany. They're also fighting to survive.
That's another thing people don't realize.
Because they'd be killed if they.
The Nazis were just a party. They took over the country.
Yeah.
Like
Beer Hall Putsch was.
People had no like, and at first, right, they took Hitler's pitch because they were desperate. They wanted to get out of the depression. And this dude was doing a lot of great things, like I said, for the country early on. And that. Okay, you want to get on the Indian Mound thing?
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Yeah.
Just pause.
Oh god. Oh god. Okay, you guys want to get down this?
I'm scared.
Okay.
Let's go down.
I am
the rabbit
genuinely
hole.
scared.
Okay.
I know this is gonna be.
So you know Dixon Mounds, right?
Yeah, Dixon Mounds.
Okay, so for you guys that don't know, Dixon Mounds is a museum with native. It's on an Indian mound, Native American mound. Okay, and
Oh no! This is. I'm already scared, dude.
Okay, as soon as I tell you this, you guys are gonna completely changes your perception of this.
Just do it.
It changes your perception of this area.
Just do it.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. So think about this. You have tens of thousands of years, like roughly 20,000.
Yeah.
Years of just of dead bodies piled on top of each other. Okay. So the natives, they would take mounds, right? You have a small mound. You lay people in the ground. They didn't really even put them in bags. They just lay them in the ground, right? You put soil on top of that, and then the next tribe, 100 years later, moves in. They're like, oh, there's a mound. We'll just put more people on top of there. And then those mounds, because eventually it gets too high, you have to make another one. And over the course of thousands of years, there are just mounds everywhere, filled with bodies everywhere. Everywhere. I mean, everywhere, okay? But the natives were here way longer than the Europeans, and you already see how many cemeteries we have, okay?
Yeah.
Tons. And because of the way they lived, they just pile them up, okay? And
In a way, this isn't actually blowing my mind that much. I'm not.
No, we're not.
He's
We're not getting
even
to
done
this.
yet.
We're
He's
not
not.
getting to this yet. What I'm about to tell you. Okay.
Do it.
About every hill that you see around here.
Filled with bodies.
Yeah.
That's
There are bodies everywhere.
Okay.
And this is
Let me do
I learned this from talking to an archaeologist not too long ago.
But when we dig, we don't find bones. So it must be the recent 1,000 years that we actually see bones.
I'll explain. Okay.
We don't see bones.
So you know how you'll see farmhouses on hills, right?
Mm-hmm.
Those hills are typically Indian mounds. Okay.
Yeah.
And they when these houses were built, 100 years ago or whatever, people would dig in the basement, see bones, and like, well, shit, I gotta have a cellar, I'll just dig around it, and
Can't do anything about these.
you're just
bodies.
desecrating graves, right? And
I mean, yeah. But
and
it's nothing you can do.
Then again, graves are for
okay,
the living.
and
not
we
the
haven't even gotten to the worst part of this yet.
Oh, no.
Okay. But okay, and so, so Dixon Mounds. Initially, Dr. Dixon, right, the guy that found it, he was very gentle about that. He didn't want to desecrate the graves at all, and so he just made it a place where you could look at the artifacts and everything. Yeah. But he didn't want to dig in there at all, so that the graves would. He wanted them to stay where they were at, right? Yeah. He was very respectful of that. But the state, they buy the place, right, and they come in. They're not respectful with it at all.
Yeah.
They literally come in. The natives at first were like, no, please don't do anything. You can build on top of it, but don't dig. Guess what happens? State bulldozes the fucking mound.
Oh my. Yeah.
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 They bulldoze the mound. And so that mound that the building is built on, only half of it is still there. They bulldoze into the mound, bodies go everywhere, right? This is my water.
Okay, I doubt if you're that's yours.
Okay.
I doubt the bodies, the bones are that intact. They had to have been just weird patterns of soil at some point.
And then
No, they're still there. They're still there.
How-
We're talking.
Okay, how long does a bone last?
The
underground in
ones
these
that are found at Dixon Mounds are woodland period, so they're within the last 1,000 years.
Okay.
They're not very long.
But how long does a bone last?
Not woodland period, but just post-colonial, or
also,
pre-colonial.
the thing with Dixon Mounds is that they just they dug up the mounds and just left it open and let you go in and look at the bodies just there.
Okay,
and
yeah,
so
I was about to get to that, but
I've never
there's a
actually
whole
been there.
scandal.
so they bulldoze it, right?
Mhm.
And then not long after, the state's like, no, you can't do this anymore. No one else can do this. We're gonna make it illegal for you to even dig with a shovel on these sites. Okay, which I agree with.
Yeah.
But you should have fucking done that before you bulldoze.
Exactly, before you
Yeah.
bulldoze the thing.
Okay, yeah, and so so they do that,
When
right?
did they bulldoze it? 1960s?
I
assume
don't
they do that in
know. I think it was
1960s.
around then.
Because
But yeah,
because
and so for the longest time,
culture
until
is
the 90s, right? You could literally walk. So you know that room where when you go in and it's dark and the Native Americans telling stories, and there's stuff hanging.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about, right?
I never been there.
Oh, okay. You need to go there sometime.
Yeah,
It's a really cool
it's
place.
cool.
Okay, but you used to be able to look down in there and you just see skeletons.
You can see skeletons. Yeah.
It's inside of the mound, right?
Mm-hmm.
So where you were at was originally covered in dirt, right?
Yeah.
So it was a really tall mound.
Mm-hmm.
So you're where the mound was.
Are there pictures of it? Because I'd like to see it.
Yeah, you could. Well, if you go there, there's pictures of what it used to look like. But yeah, so they just kind of dug into it, and then they left. So you're kind of looking in the center of the mound.
Yeah.
So you're seeing the older skeletons that are at the bottom when you're looking in there, and of course the Native Americans the community got pissed.
Yeah, I'd be pissed too.
So they eventually they covered it up, and now there's a tarp over it, so you can't see it.
Now I want to look at my great grandfather.
It's still opened up. If you,
body.
no one has the clearance to do it, but it's possible you could actually still see it if Okay, but you haven't gotten to the worst part yet.
Oh my gosh.
You say that a lot when we talk
No,
about
I'm
this
serious.
stuff
I'm serious. Okay.
What's the worst part?
Okay, so you know the St. Louis area, right?
Yeah.
St. Louis area?
Yeah.
A lot of Native American activity there. It was a huge area for them, right?
Mm-hmm.
Along the river, Mississippian culture,
Yeah.
Yeah. The Illinoisans lived around this area.
Mm-hmm.
But we have the Mississippian culture that lives all along the Mississippi.
Yeah.
And it's composed of multiple different tribes, right?
Yeah.
But share a similar language and culture.
Mm-hmm.
And so, in that area, lots of people living there for thousands of years. Like I said, that means lots of mounds pretty much everywhere.
Yeah.
And so, settlers come in and they're like, well, there's a lot of hills around here, very hilly place. Looks like a good place to build a city, Well, if we want to make buildings, we're going to have to flatten it out. So, yeah, bulldozed all the mounds with bodies in them, desecrating thousands of graves,
just a few
and destroying lots of artifacts, like millions of artifacts, in the course of the period. Yeah, and that is how many cities were built in that area. If we're talking along the Mississippi, now if we go out west, there aren't near as many mounds at all. But in this area, because there was so much activity, we're talking like over 1 million, living along this area. Over the thousands of years.
So, that hill next to Colton's house down the road?
Oh, yeah, that's definitely an Indian
That's
mound.
gotta be.
Yeah, it is.
It is such an irregular, unbelievably irregular, just fucking hill in the
Like I
middle of
said,
nowhere.
they're everywhere. They're literally everywhere.
So, I don't understand. Like, someone built that house there, and someone built the house here, and everywhere else. This is kind of on a hill.
There are Indian mounds everywhere. And that is something that people...
I just don't ever hear about people finding bones. It kind of makes me doubt it. Like, they definitely
like
had to
I
find
said,
bones digging
because this is over, this is over a period of time, the bones are further down. Because that's how soil is layered, remember? So you'd have to dig down, like, you'd find it when, like, you're digging a basement. So when these bones were initially found, they were found when people were building those houses. So they're not really found anymore. Because most of that was cleared out. Like, if you go to Rockwell Mound, that, for instance, that is an Indian mound. There's bodies under that. But
that is such a weird.
All of the hills in town are pretty much Indian mounds, and a lot of them were flattened anyway when people built the town. But
that kind of makes me oddly, in an odd, very fucking weird way. That kind of makes me want to go to Rockwell and start digging.
And he told me this too.
Yeah.
You know how
I just want to see it for myself.
You know how Lewiston is like very hilly.
Mm-hmm.
That whole area.
Yeah.
Indian mounds. Yep. All Indian mounds. Some of it is natural, but a lot of it is Indian mounts in this area.
It doesn't necessarily blow my mind. It's just kind of cool to think about.
Yeah, it is cool to think about.
It's a little weird, but it's cool.
Yeah, but
it's crazy.
It's dead bodies.
Yeah, it's
fucking
crazy
everywhere.
I mean, if you think about it,
if you drive,
there's
you're gonna see cemeteries. Like, those are dead bodies.
He talked about this too. Maybe we should do it like the Native Americans did it, because the way that they do it allows you to still have farming, right?
Yeah.
Because you can just kind of farm over that. The way we do it, we got to be so sentimental about it and have tombs and stones and everything. We're taking up space that could be used for farming.
Let's go on to that
My
topic.
grandpa has made that point many times. He said he wants to be cremated for that purpose.
Yeah. What do you want to do when you die? Like,
I want to be cremated.
Either want to be cremated or just thrown in a hole somewhere. Don't put me in a casket. Don't
I
pump
just
me
don't
with
want
all
exactly.
these chemicals.
I
Just
do not
plop
want
me
to
in
be
the
pumped
ground.
with chemicals.
Or
I
burn
was
me.
I
was actually wrestling
for 100
with
years.
the idea of being cryonically frozen.
I don't want to rot for 100 years. I don't want my
Cryonically
family to
frozen.
spend thousands on a casket. I don't.
Why
want
is that?
To rot.
I don't know, maybe hope of a second life. I have to look into whether it would actually be possible to be successful.
By the time you die, probably.
Maybe.
And the weird thing is, this is probably a good transition into the just Unisong.
Just depends on how I feel at that
really
point.
weird
Maybe
way.
I feel like maybe I don't want to live anymore, but it depends on how I feel when I get older. But
So do you want to talk about Unisongs?
I don't know much about it.
Well,
that's
you
the
can just
problem.
ride along for the ride, you know?
Yeah, you can.
Because it died yesterday, and I think we should at
You
least
guys
have
can,
a little
you can
section about
acknowledge
it.
it, yeah.
I will miss Unisongs. I cried when they hit the
Yeah.
0. As soon as 7 minutes came around, I was like, dude, I started fucking
It was a
doing
bad moment. It was a sad
Wow.
moment in history.
There were a lot of videos I didn't see.
It was crazy. So this YouTube channel, these more famous YouTubers,
One more famous than the
yeah. Anyway, they basically set out a goal to make a channel, make a video every single day.
It was Markiplier and who else?
Crank Gameplays.
Crank Gameplays, Ethan.
Okay.
Yeah. Anyway, so they basically set, a goal to create a video for every day for a whole year, and at the end of the year, they delete the channel. All that work, gone.
And the entire point of it is to make sure that you can do it, not only to see what they would do if they knew they only have 1 year to live, just to remind people that they only have so much time to live, and they should do everything they can to make that time worth it.
Well,
It's a good
to
message.
and to appreciate something while it's still there.
Exactly. Yeah.
Because once it's gone, you don't realize
Mm-hmm.
it's gone. You can't do anything about it.
It's not coming back.
It's like when your family member dies. You know,
there's no way to reverse that. There's nowhere to stop that. Like
death is the ultimate separation.
It's inevitable. I mean, it's gonna happen. Like,
and in all due respect, I think that is why religion was created.
Yeah.
To be honest, I think people feared losing family members.
That's a good point, actually.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. I mean, it's crazy to think about. People there, like, you know, their family member just died. They don't know what's gonna happen.
They want to have comfort.
Closure.
They want to have comfort
Yeah.
that they're gonna see them again.
They're gonna see them again. That they're in a better place than this crappy Earth that we're living in. Like, you know, it. I don't know. That's a good point.
I think humans are more than just bags of flesh, but
yeah,
like
we
have so much to offer. But
in a weird way, an afterlife would, if you really think about it, yeah, it'd be cool to live after you die.
Get into this shit.
But that means either you live after you die, and you live for an eternity,
which can be
which
hell.
would be hell. Yeah. Imagine how many memories you would have.
Unless you just forget ever so often.
Yeah.
But then, what's the point in that?
Would you want to live
It's
in
pointless.
eternity? Like, would
Eventually,
you
at some
truly
point, you
want to
can't.
live?
I just want to live until I've accomplished everything I want to accomplish, and then I just die peacefully. You know, that's kind of what I would want to do.
Another point of Unus Honest was to make people do as much as they can, so when they die, they feel comfortable knowing that they've done everything.
It's kind of like a good meal. If you eat that good meal forever, it becomes really bad, and you just want to die.
If you eat the same thing every single day.
No, I'm talking about like if a meal lasted forever. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah.
Because that meal served its purpose. It was good, but it has to end eventually. Because if you just keep eating that meal forever, you're gonna become super overweight, and you're gonna be so full that you just want to barf. You know?
It's a weird analogy, but it kind of works.
It does. Yeah. You don't want to eat that thing again because you're sick of it. Like, it gave you so much pain, I guess. Yeah. You know, the flavor of it is all just not there.
Imagine if you did only eat one thing your entire life and you changed it. How your buds. What the fuck was I even trying to say? Taste buds would react to that. If you've only tasted one thing your entire life and you taste something else, your taste buds would react to such a weird way.
They would have like a sensory overload.
Yeah. Something like that. I don't know.
There was a hypothesis that that if you see something so foreign that you just wouldn't even be able to comprehend it, and you just wouldn't see it.
Like
I don't personally believe in this, but
Me neither.
but some people, someone proposed that
because what your eyes see, unless you're impaired, is a direct input to your brain. You will see what's in front of you.
No, but think about this. Think about
as long as
you're just
light is
okay.
reflected.
You're just like some native chilling in Cuba, right?
Mhm.
You know, or actually Hispaniola, I should say. You know, the island Dominican Republic in Hades on. You're just chilling there. It's the late 1400s, right? Mm-hmm. And then you just see this fucking thing in the water.
Oh yeah.
And you're like, what the fuck is that?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And then these white dudes
that you've never seen people with the skin color coming out, and you're like, what?
Alien looking guys.
You don't even know if this is the same thing that you are.
Yeah, like
you're
this
like,
could be.
Are these humans?
Yeah, this could.
Because they look completely different for me, right? Or you would
speaking
think
a different language, like they sound like I don't know.
Well, and they look different too because they're different skin color, right? You have no concept of who these people are, and even if you're the European, it's still strange. You're like, there's people over there.
Yeah,
what?
Well,
you don't even know if they're people, right?
Well, they kind of did expect people because they thought it was India for a while.
Well, yeah, they expected it was India, but
it wasn't. It wasn't.
They never got Ethiopia. Have you ever seen that? Right. But yeah, that would just be so messed up.
And then they get raped and pillaged.
Yep.
You know.
Ultimately, that is what has happened every time we find a less advanced group of people. Sadly.
Except for like modern times, like with the Congo and stuff, you kind of let them do their own thing.
Well, the Belgians kind of raped the Congo for a while, but
you realize up until I think it was like still the 1800s, I had watched this on a Joe Rogan podcast. People hunted like midgets.
Yeah.
There were like these. There was this. Okay.
What?
There was this whole like group of like really, like there were smaller people that they were.
They're called hobbits. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, they were completely cut off from like all other humans and whatever.
It could have even. They think
thing.
it could have been a subspecies of human.
Yeah, they think it could have been like a
sapien,
subspecies. And people went out and hunted them. Like, they shot them and, like, stuffed them and had them in their homes, like, as trophies. They killed these little people.
Oh my god.
Like,
It's like
it's
weird.
so screwed. Like,
That is
Yeah,
weird.
it's no wonder they went extinct.
Yeah.
It's no wonder.
Yeah.
like
Imagine if we had people like that. There would be an entire society of those people.
Yeah, imagine if
Not just, like, one
imagine if Neanderthals didn't go extinct. Okay, so there's two main hypotheses as to how they went extinct. Either they just interbred so much with humans that
I
they just
think-
merged, or they just died because we were way better at
Yeah.
hunting than them.
Yeah.
And there was competition.
I
for
was thinking that
resources.
like maybe
Or it
because
could've
we
been
are
both.
smarter than them, if we had like little wars and stuff, that obviously the smarter being would have just killed all the others.
They were actually way stronger.
yeah,
than
they
us,
were
though.
so
Oh
much
yeah, but true,
stronger.
we can outsmart them. That's
Yeah,
true.
but we were smarter. Yeah,
We were smarter, but I mean,
and we had better language skills. We could communicate
True.
better.
but I mean, yeah, I guess.
Yeah.
But I mean, if you get hit by like a spear thrown by one of these giant like dudes, you're gonna die. Like
They
What
were
if you think about
they
it,
were
maybe-
shorter, but they were stronger.
they were stronger.
Yeah.
If you get hit by one, like you're dead. There's no stopping.
Also, have you ever seen like what the average Neanderthal female looked like? They look fucking ugly.
Yeah,
I'd assume they would.
They
I
look-
mean,
Okay, so this is a hypothesis that I actually it was on National Geographic that because they were ugly, the Neanderthal males actually preferred Homo sapien
'Cause they looked
females
prettier.
because they look better. Yeah.
Now going back
And
So what I
so
was saying-
so because of that, they interbred
Mhm.
with us. Yeah.
earlier about how rather unpreferable looking people would eventually evolve to like other unpreferable people, because like if you were looking unpreferable, you would be less likely to get someone that would look really pretty. So eventually, over time, those people would get eliminated, and those people who actually liked the people that are unpreferable looking, there'd be more of them there'd be more of them being born, and they would reproduce more, therefore creating more of them. So eventually, those unpreferable people, in theory, should be more attracted to unpreferable people.
Well, like I said, there's a hypothesis too that unpreferable people are more attracted to attractive people.
Yeah.
So that way they don't breed.
Yeah.
They kind of contradict each other, but hey, they're both probable.
Yeah.
That's so screwed.
Yeah. But evolution doesn't have morals though. It's just
Evolution is evolution, man.
Just there. So I heard this theory that sort of merging not evolution, like sort of the religion thing, saying that like God was just like an alien that came to that. Yeah, I know. It's this whole theory
I know,
that
it's
God
like-
is this alien that freaking came to Earth, created a dude, and then created a girl, and then left. Like,
But that would eventually.
okay, but the problem with that, right,
yeah.
is that you can't create a species from just two people.
Yeah, exactly.
You have to have at
I
least
don't believe it. But
you have to have at least 50 members of a species to at least with animals
Yeah.
to have enough genetic diversity.
And there's evidence that
To,
there was like a transition from ape or chimp. What chimp? Yeah.
We're still apes.
Oh,
We're still
yeah,
apes.
got
We didn't
it.
evolve from chimps. We share common ancestors.
Did you hear the theory that like they thought that like Adam and Eve had like one finger? It was just like one thing, and through inbreeding we got a whole hand.
That doesn't make any sense.
That doesn't.
I'm pretty sure inbreeding
Like-
go the opposite way.
Yeah, like that was a whole theory that. I don't
Plus,
know.
Whoever came up with that probably believes in flat Earth.
people back in the day used to think that like because they believed in the Bible and all that, they believed that black people were created separately from white people and that they were different species. And so that's why that was how they justified keeping the races separate.
They just evolved to be better in the sun.
And humans are actually some of the most genetically similar species. There are chimps, right, that live within like hundreds of miles of each other, that are way more genetically diverse than humans that are from Africa and the ones that are from Europe.
Yeah.
Like,
That's kind
which is really interesting
it
to think
is
about.
It's
Yeah.
because they don't intermingle as much. Because we travel all over the world. We know,
Well, not even
hey,
just that, but
the
you're
guy born here will go.
you're
fuck guy
more
in Asia. Well,
you're
guy in
actually
Asia.
more
Maybe.
related though to a guy living in an isolated tribe in Africa than some of these chimps are to other chimps.
True.
That's crazy
Yeah,
to think
yeah.
about.
Yeah.
It's really crazy.
I brought this up about flat Earth. We should just talk about flat Earth for a minute. Like, why do people believe in flat Earth?
Because they like to they just some people
Wanna feel
some
different?
some yeah, and it's they want to be a part of a group.
Probably
and
attention. Why? Like
sometimes it's just distrust.
Like, they debunk themselves.
Like they just don't want to trust NASA and they don't want to trust the government and they don't want to trust
I
scientists.
think deep down everybody knows the Earth is not flat. Like, people have been in space. Like you see pictures of
you
the
can
Earth.
actually send up your own weather balloon and see the curvature if you want.
Yeah. People know deep down. I think it's just more of an attention.
And they don't
more of
want
a-
it to be proved to them though. They just want to
And
kind of
they
keep.
constantly make the theories about how planes, they don't fly off the Earth, but they fly around it, but they wouldn't fly around it.
That's not how gravity works.
Exactly. That's not
Gravity-
how it works.
It's gravity.
Gravity and inertia keep the plane going around the Earth.
And also, they think that, crap, I forgot what, oh, right, how gravity does not exist because, we wouldn't be together, we'd be in a ball if gravity did exist. Just stupid.
And Earth isn't a ball.
Yeah.
That's-
Because it has a center of mass, and it's massive enough that's going to round into a ball, right?
Yeah.
So,
That's just...
a flat disc just doesn't work
They
on
don't
something
want
as
us
massive
going
as
to
the Earth.
Antarctica because that is the edge of Earth.
No, maybe because it's just super inhospitable and it costs way too much money to get there. Like, if you really want to go to Antarctica and you got the money, you could probably get there.
You should
somehow.
probably get there, but good fucking luck living.
Yeah, you're not going to be able to survive
Unless you're part of a
there very
government
long.
program that sends food down there.
Or there's
for
like
you.
a company that's doing research or whatever. Yeah.
What do you think is in the ocean?
Oh, there's
Water.
a lot of stuff that we don't know about.
I think
Yeah,
water's in the ocean.
Well, yeah,
Like,
there's water.
Deep
Confirmed.
down,
Water
we're
confirmed.
under the areas that we are able to explore. Like,
Well, I really can't say because we haven't explored it. so
true,
don't
but
know.
I mean, like,
Honestly, I can't predict anything.
Do I think there's a megalodon? No.
there's some people that think that there are
I
like
think beings
megalodons
would-
and stuff still alive.
Down
Like,
there-
I honestly don't think
I
it
doubt
does.
it.
I think stuff living down there would be, honestly, it would become not necessarily big, but it would be smaller because of pressure and just.
And partially because of evolution, it'd be
And
very
heat.
difficult for a species to survive that long.
yeah.
I think more below the places that we can explore is more like those microscopic, like more bacteria that
Yeah,
feeds
that's
off
what I
of
was
the
thinking. I think it'd be more.
feeds off the vents and stuff. Like,
Yeah.
I think it's more that.
Well, that's
than-
how life started, actually.
Plant life.
I think it's more that than entire like.
They think actually
Creatures.
that life started as a retrovirus, possibly, and then that evolved into bacteria and archaea, and archaea evolved into eukarya, and then eukarya, of course, stemmed into protists, plants, fungi, animals. Oh my God! Did you know this? Animals are more closely related to fungi than fungi are to plants.
Whoa.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
That's
We're-
cool.
You're closer related to a mushroom than a mushroom is to a tree.
Oh, I gotta use the restroom. I'll be right back. You guys just
Yeah.
kind of carry
Hey.
this for a minute.
Hmm.
Right back. Oh.
that's weird. Did you hear about there's like fungi that it's called like the zombie thing or something. They will like implant spores in ants' heads. And so those ants are like it makes them go up, like climb up higher. And so they climb up to the tallest point they can, and the spores grow out of their heads and consume the ant's
Okay.
body.
And that is one of the things I have. Like, how does that evolve?
I don't know. It's creepy. Like, How does that happen?
If the fungus isn't sentient, how does it evolve that? That is one hole in evolution that it's hard to figure out. I'm sure there's an explanation for it, but
then, because it's high up, the spores get released, and the spores travel farther, infecting more ants.
Which would give it an evolutionary advantage. Because the ones that do that would then spread more of its seed, right?
Are you guys talking about
but then how does that arise, though? Like, by the way,
fungus.
have you ever seen the plants that look like butterflies or whatever? Like, or you'll see like a leaf, or you'll see like an insect that looks like a leaf.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, how that occurs is over time, birds will dive in and get them, right? And let's say there's two insects there. The one that looks slightly more like the leaf will be the one that isn't killed most of the time.
Yeah, that's how evolution works.
Okay? And then slowly over time, that one's going to keep sitting on its traits. And as time goes on, it'll look more and more like a leaf. Because the one that looks less like a leaf will keep being selected less than the
there's
one that looks
entire
like. So that's how it becomes. That's how it starts looking more like a leaf.
There's entire insects that go base their entire living off of looking like hornets and stuff. Like there's entire bugs that try to look like bees and wasps to try and stop things from coming and killing them because they're gonna get stung. In reality, they don't have a single stinger on them.
They're not necessarily trying to. It's just how they work.
It's just how they work. But it's just crazy to think how that evolved. It's wild.
At that point, you think they just evolved to be like bees.
Yeah, but
then again, usually there's probably two different paths. Say one evolved to have stingers, one didn't, but they end up surviving because of the ones that have stingers. So it's not like they can really evolve to have stingers for a long time.
I'll say this for when Carrick gets back, but just be thinking of this, they're thinking of making, the electronic bees, because bees, the robotic bees, because bees are dying off, they're becoming extinct, and without bees and pollinators like that, a lot of plant life's going to be screwed. So just be thinking of that. I'm going to get Carrick's input when he comes back.
I just think the best way to do it is not electronic. Because that is so much energy that would just be wasted.
Yeah.
But natural cycle, for example, with butterflies instead of bees, because they were actually native to this area. Butterflies are better. But then again, nature has kind of evolved to adapt to bees now, so there are bees native.
All right, so we got a new sort of talking point. So, did you hear about the robot bees that they're creating?
Oh Jesus Christ!
Yeah. Because all these bees are becoming extinct.
Okay.
So they're trying to find a replacement.
That just reminded me of something.
Okay.
I checked out this app the other day, right?
Yeah.
And it's supposed to be like an AI that you can create a relationship with. You can choose to be a friend, right?
Oh, God.
I think I saw that thing.
Okay. You can choose to be a friend, or you can have a romantic... I'm serious.
A romantic relationship with an AI.
You can have sex with it.
How?
Oh, wait, isn't that one,
What?
Just to try it and see.
It works?
It fucking works.
How?
Remember that
How does that work?
Remember that one
you can even talk to it on the phone.
So it talks to you, but does it guide you through how to? Oh.
Do you remember that AI that we were taught using it was like a weird D&D story campaign type thing?
I might not put this in the video.
I think that's very similar. It's so weird that we can make shit like that. That is weird.
Yeah, there's an entire AI app
We can probably
thing.
keep this in, honestly.
There's an entire AI app thing that literally creates faces that aren't human.
But you can I saw that the website.
Yeah.
But you can talk to it's called this is not a real person or something. But you can talk to this thing about, you can tell your secrets. You can talk to it. If you just need a friend, you're feeling down, and it will literally comfort you. It sounds like a real person.
Oh
It's it feels the same as going on Omegle and just texting. It feels the same.
Oh, it's so creepy.
The AI is very good. You'll ask it are you real? And it just.
So what is it?
It's mind blowing. I need to show you this app. It's. I'll show you later.
With that D&D thing we were doing,
it's mind
blowing.
blowing.
We could throw some weird shit at it.
Yeah.
And it reacts.
Yeah, so it's called...
even if it was an inside joke, it's somehow...
It's called AI Dungeon. So basically, it formulates a whole like scenario based on like you can pick fantasy. So it'll try to generate a fantasy thing for you, and it will basically make a whole story based on your actions. So it will put you in a random inn and say a dude walks up to you talking about a quest, and you can say, I shoot him in the face. And the AI will react and say the guy dies, and now you're wanted by the law.
And every time it's
so it's so crazy
mind-boggling
that the AI knows that, and like
we even tried it with weird sexual things. We
it
experimented with
works.
It fucking works. I don't think it was even programmed to do that.
It's like the
That's
same
weird.
thing that this would have had to have been, but
Well, maybe, but
it could be one of those AIs that's made to like build its knowledge over time by building out a database.
But it's so weird.
Are you one of those people that think AI will eventually become like so intertwined with humans that you won't be able to tell AI from human?
Oh yeah, definitely.
I feel like eventually we'll
There is
become,
already
restrictions
AI that could maybe pass the Turing test. The Turing test is basically if you basically take a human and you send messages over from a human and you chat back and forth without actually talking to them, right? Like a chat message, right? And then talking to an AI. And if the AI is just as human-like as a human, then they pass the Turing test.
It's a very scientific test.
Yeah.
But
Detroit become human.
You know who Alan Turing is,
But I
right?
feel like-
He's the father of modern computers.
I feel like they would have to. There would be some restriction so that you would know it's an AI. Like there would be some sort of disclaimer type.
I guess,
thing, you know,
but
that'd have to happen.
With quantum computing and everything, which uses things in quantum physics, like I think it uses. Does it use? What is it? Okay, you know what Schrodinger's cat is?
what is it?
Schrodinger's cat.
I do not.
Okay, so this is a thing in quantum physics where, and this is a real thing. So, because particles can pop in and out of existence, right? You'll have a thing. Okay, so this is a good analogy. So with Schrodinger's cat, you have, you expose a cat to, you put a cat in a box, right?
Yeah.
And so at a very instant, a particle has a 50% chance of being real or not real, like in existence or not in existence in that spot. Okay, so we have a 50% chance. And basically, this is before we observe whether that particle is there or not. If the particle is there, the cat will be exposed to radiation, will be dead. But if the particle is not there, the cat will not be exposed to radiation. But before we observe that particle is neither there nor not there. It is both. And so therefore, the cat is both dead and alive before we observe the particle.
Now that's a mind.
And that is a fundamental thing in quantum physics.
I kind of lost that.
Yeah. So the cat is both dead and alive before we do it. And so the idea is that because it's both at the same time before we observe it,
Wouldn't that eventually
a parallel universe is created.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was
yeah.
thinking.
So the universe basically just randomly decides which one it is before we observe it, and then, or as we're observing it.
Do you think that could have something about how we were talking about how sometimes throwing a perfect ball, a perfect strike ball, and it sometimes does get a strike, sometimes it doesn't?
That's just due to different conditions.
Circumstances.
Yeah,
just conditions. I mean, that has nothing to do with quantum physics, but
Yeah, I don't know. I was just kind of throwing out that.
It was just sort of an
throwing that out
analogy,
there.
I guess.
I'm also getting tired.
That's crazy to think about.
That is crazy.
yeah, quantum physics does not behave like like
normal.
everything is. Yeah, well, it's at a different level, though, completely different level, beyond our comprehension. So
It's at level 9,000. We're at level.
well, at least right now.
Over
It's actually, it would be more comparable to level -9,000, but because of its size. But
All right, man. You do you.
Okay.
Let's lighten the mood a little bit. What dumb topics can we bring up? Like just absolute fucking just utterly stupid.
how much did that like the Indian Mounds thing freak you out?
Not very much.
not super.
It's kind of weird. I just want to see for myself, but other than that, I know
It makes me want to go out and just dig around in like different cliffs and see.
You have to dig down a little bit.
Well, yeah,
to actually find
something.
something.
I mean,
I'm capable of that. I've done it for
They find fossils or they'll find arrowheads and stuff all the time while they're digging fields.
Supposedly, there's a ton of arrowheads and stuff down where I live, Matanza Beach.
Yeah, I mean it's got a wash.
Well, yeah, that was one of the areas where there's dead bodies too.
Uh-huh. Yeah, and there was a tribe called the Matanzas that lived down there, and that's why it's called Matanza Beach, apparently. That's what I heard.
You know, a lot of places are, when you translate the names, are just named Mountain or River because
That's great.
Because the Europeans would come up and they're like, hey, what's that called? You know, and the native would be like, it's a river. You know,
yeah.
And the guy's like, oh, that's what you call that river, and so they'd be like, well, that's river.
That's so.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
That's funny. I like that.
Yeah.
Or it's lake. You know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Let's go to Lake.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. So they just tell them the word for river, because maybe they didn't have a name for it. They're like, well, that's just the river. You know?
River. Let's go to River.
Mm-hmm.
Let's go to Mountain.
That just sort of.
Yeah, but it sounds cool though, so we'll keep it. It's good.
It makes me think like how sort of stupid people like were. I guess
yeah,
they
didn't.
They didn't know.
They're just.
But.
Yeah, the natives didn't know any more than they did.
Yeah.
No,
they're like, I don't know what you mean, man. It's a fucking river. I'm just.
Yeah. Yeah. Anything's in the PlayStation 5, just randomly, you know.